Google issued some big updates to their Google review policy in the middle of April. Why does this matter to you? These policy changes are quite significant. And if you've listened to me for any period of time, you know how I feel about the Google Business Profile and the reviews that go to that profile. Your Google Business Profile is the top of the funnel for your co-working business. Local businesses are found through Google searches. So people on their phone, co-working near me, people online, co-working near me, office space near me, meeting rooms near me, event space, etc. And that pulls up the map pack. And in the map pack is your Google business profile, and that is where your product information lives, your photos, your reviews, and your posts. And Google loves an updated profile. And one of the easiest ways to update that is to get reviews. And reviews are also really critical to keep current for social proof, to help with SEO. There are a lot of reasons why that Google Business Profile matters. I talk about that a lot, so I'm not going to spend any more time on that now. But if you are new, go through, find a couple of episodes. We'll link to some in the show notes about the Google Business Profile. It is critical. It will get 10 to 20 times the traffic that your website gets. It really truly is top of the funnel when it comes to searches done online for the products and services that you offer. So you want to be compliant. You do not want that listing to get taken down, and you don't want your reviews to get taken down. So this is kind of wild because there's a lot of changes here. I'm going to walk through them, tell you about the changes, and then kind of how to manage through the changes. This is super important because it contradicts a lot of the suggestions that I've made in the past. So we're starting fresh in terms of how we think about getting reviews. I mean, not 100% fresh, but there are definitely some changes in here. So let's go. So this happened on April 16th and 17th. Google rolled out major updates to its Maps use generated content policy, specifically targeting how businesses solicit and manage reviews. Businesses like co-working spaces. They also deploy Gemini AI enforcement tools that are actively scanning for violations, both in new reviews and your existing review history. So, they're enforcing, they're, out looking and issuing tickets. So these are important to take note of and make sure immediately you update the steps that you need to update with your team. Do an audit, get this taken care of right away. Okay, change number 1. No more on-site review solicitation. So you can no longer ask customers to leave a review while they're physically in your space. Google now considers this pressured solicitation. This is a big one because we just had in our community manager university program, we have a Slack group, and we just had a big conversation about how to solicit Google reviews. One of our members of the program had popped in and said, was so excited to share that she had just, talked to some members personally, one-on-one, and gotten them to write these reviews. I mean, we used to literally say, just go door to door and chit chat with your members and ask them for a review. Tell them how important it is to a small business to have positive reviews that come in consistently. So no more can you do that. You cannot ask meeting room users for reviews on the way out the door. You can't ask event space users. It is hard to imagine how the AI enforcement tools could hear these conversations, but they probably will do things like check for IP addresses, et cetera. And if they see too many reviews coming from inside of the space, those can get flagged. I am not saying everything's going to get flagged, but you should be aware that this could happen. So you may choose to say, I don't buy that. That's crazy. How would they know? But they are trying to know. And so I would be conservative if I were you and try to follow along. So we talked about what you cannot do, some more things that you can't do that are common approaches. You cannot ask for a review on a tablet. So, at the welcome desk or in the common areas, you cannot put a QR code out. Absolutely, we used to have QR codes out, linking to our Google review profile, leave us a review. You can't host an event and say, hey, leave us a Google review and we'll give you a beer, which also people used to do or still do, are doing right this minute, probably. So we can no longer do those things. Google says it can detect when reviews are submitted from your business location and will flag patterns of on site reviews as inauthentic. So I don't know if that means they'll pull them down. We'll see what happens when this plays out. So here's what you want to do: remove any of that signage that says leave us a Google review, replace it with neutral language. We'd love your feedback without mentioning Google specifically. And you may already be doing this in some markets. There are other review platforms that are really critical, like Yelp. It's hard to think of any more than Yelp, but you cannot mention Google specifically. So you can still solicit feedback, but you can't ask for a Google review. You can't put the Google logo up with the, defaulted 5 stars and ask for that review. Shift your review request to automated follow-up emails or texts that go out after someone has left the building. We do need to talk about how you're going to approach that, because that approach needs to change to comply as well. And hopefully most of you are doing that, because it is really manual to ask for, ask in person for reviews, and probably a little bit awkward to do that with meeting room users, etc. But I know a lot of you, and I've advised this, certainly do ask repeated users, when they're on site. Certainly you ask members or, long-term day pass users. Can't do that on site anymore. So you have to do that in an outbound email. And even that outbound email still cannot say, leave us a Google review, and it cannot be gated to only steer them to leaving positive reviews. And some of you have automations running in place, because we just did a Google review challenge at the beginning about a year ago that set it up exactly like this. So you're going to have to adjust the way you do this. Okay, no more incentivized reviews. So I alluded to this with the, hey, come to happy hour and we'd love to, host you and treat you to snacks and drinks. In return, please leave us a positive Google review. So you cannot offer anything of value in exchange. You can't offer free meeting room credits or a free day pass or anything like that. Anything else creative that you might be doing to incentivize a review. So again, you can't say leave us a review for a free day pass. You can't give a discount on a membership. You can't do a referral program perk tied to leaving a review. Cannot incentivize your staff based on Google reviews. I have occasionally seen that, and actually I loved it, because getting Google reviews is so critical. Like, it has to be a KPI for your team that's getting tracked. And incentivizing is one way to do it and to really draw attention to it. You cannot do that anymore. No contests. So we have for years run a Google review challenge in our community manager university program, where we give out significant prizes to the community managers who get the most reviews in a month. And I mean, we're talking like 30 reviews, 50 reviews. A lot of reviews have been gotten in those months, like for one co-working space, and we cannot do that anymore. So make sure, one other just kind of nuance here, you also cannot offer an incentive to get someone to revise or remove a negative review. I am all about whatever tactics it takes to get negative reviews off of your listing. If they're from an actual person, can't do that anymore. You can't call them up and say, hey, we'll refund your visit or we'll give you a credit for next time if you go in and adjust that review. You cannot have those conversations. Google will be listening. So what to do instead? You have to decouple your review strategy from any rewards and referral programs. You can still run referral programs and feedback programs, but they cannot be tied to Google reviews. So if I'm going to run my Google review challenge with the community manager university group, it has to be reviews in general, feedback in general. It can't say Google reviews. and then focus on delivering a great experience so that members and guests want to talk about their experience organically. I'm going to give you that advice. It's really tricky because people are busy and people, there are certain types of people who love to leave reviews and it's very natural for them to do that. I am not one of those people. I tend to do it when somebody just knocks my socks off and I want to say something nice or when I'm asked. So you cannot ask anymore. You have to hope. Well, you can't ask on site. So I'm still going to advocate you need to have those automations in place that ask folks off site because they won't remember to do it on their own. Okay, but when you do ask, this is really important because once again, if you did our review challenge and set up the automations, or if you're using the automation in CoLevel that's set up for you and that kind of comes with the setup, it is gated. So you cannot gate reviews. And what does that mean? You can't filter customers based on the experience they've had and send only the positive folks to the Google review page and then send the negative folks to an email. So the way we like to set this up is, hey, can you leave us some feedback? How was your experience? And if somebody gives a thumbs up, then we send them to the Google review page and it's defaulted to the 5 stars and you ask for the review. If they say thumbs down, then we say, okay, we'd love to hear some feedback because we're always about continuous improvement. Here's our email address or our phone number, please reach out and share what we can do better. We are not inviting them to the Google review page. Can't do that anymore. So you can't, again, sort of segment out the users based on whether you think or they indicate whether they have positive or negative feedback. So again, and this is generally post-tour in an automation. So what to do instead? Send one follow-up email to everyone with the same call to action. Ask for general feedback without directing people to different destinations based on their sentiment. So if you have automation set up in your CRM and your CRM is not Office R&D or CoWorks, it is, although some of them do have these automations. So hopefully they are on top of this and they're tweaking those automations if they're kind of running them for you. But if you're using ActiveCampaign or HubSpot or CoLevel or, a true separate CRM, go in and audit those email sequences. So you can still have a feedback process. It just cannot gate them. So you can ask for feedback. It can't mention Google and it can't in any way send only the happy people over to their review section. So you're putting yourself at more risk, which means you need to be more on your game. So what I would suggest, when something happens that you're aware of, get in front of it right away. Don't let somebody leave the space unhappy because if they run off, if they get this automation or they just go home and they want to leave a negative review, that's going to happen more often because we're not doing this sort of gating. So A, deliver a really great experience so they don't have anything to complain about. B, if you know something has happened, get in front of it right away. Don't put it on the to-do list and, call in 2 days. Get in front of that person right away before they can leave a negative review. Ideally, we're not going to be able to prevent negative reviews. So, okay, change number 4, no asking for specific content or staff name mentions. I actually don't like to request staff name mentions. So if you are someone who incents your team based on reviews, just make it based on the reviews, not that they get mentioned, because then it ties the expectation to who's on the team. And we know that community managers turn over every couple of years. And so it could be, just sort of risky to put in specific team member names. People tend to do it anyway, but I don't ever recommend suggesting it. And now it's a rule. You cannot ask for specific content or staff name mention. So what does that look like? You cannot ask members to mention your private office because you're looking for that keyword in your reviews. And again, I've advised this oftentimes. You can't ask them to talk about the meeting rooms in their reviews. And these things are really actually quite critical for SEO. You will not rank for meeting room. I see so many people who offer great meeting rooms and they don't come up in the search results for meeting rooms or even events oftentimes because the number of reviews for the workspace tend to overwhelm that, or they just don't solicit meeting room reviews. So this is tricky. Again, no asking folks to leave reviews and mention the team by name. Certainly no staff incentive programs you can't incent, period. And you definitely can't incent anyone to get a review with their name in it. And Google's AI is going to scan for those text patterns and flag or remove reviews that mention team names. We can hope that this is not retroactive because many of you will lose a lot of reviews if that is the case. I would say, look, realistically, it could happen. And if you have not been focused on Google reviews, this is the fire under your butt. It's a critical time to make sure you are auditing your processes. But if you don't have these things in place, then and you think you're going to start losing reviews that mention team names, and that's a lot of reviews for you, then that's your sign. You got to get these automated review systems in place, but just do it in a way that doesn't get flagged by Google. So what do you do instead of asking for reviews mentioning specific products or team members? Let their members write whatever they're going to write. If you want to encourage specific themes, then do it by creating those experience, not coaching. That one's going to be tricky. But what I would say is a lot of you probably do not have automations in place going out to your meeting room users after they use a meeting room or an event space. And that alone, they're very likely to mention, I had a birthday party here. I had a corporate mixer here. I had a workshop here. They will do it in their own words when asked. So I don't think that one is as big of a challenge, but you still have to be on your game. I will also mention we just did this training for our community manager and operator members. Sorry. You can SEO optimize your Google business profile. There are ways to do it. You certainly can do it with your posts. So if you're not getting reviews that mention meeting rooms, and again, if you have a good meeting room business and you're asking for reviews in the appropriate way that doesn't violate Google's review, you will get them. You can also SEO optimize your Google business profile posts. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, then that is a big opportunity for you. And join our program, join our Community Manager University, and tell your community manager to take that training and to get you up to speed. Okay, change number 5, no fake friend or family reviews. I don't see this often except when people are launching. So if you're opening a new space and you're asking, your aunt or your uncle or other entrepreneur friends to leave reviews for you or team members, I do often see that. You don't want to do that anymore. So every Google review must reflect a genuine customer experience. And that is not, oh, I visited the space to support my friend. So I think Google will be able to see that. I can spot them when I see them. And so Google's AI tools probably can too. And reviews from people who are not actual customers will be removed. So you're just wasting your time by asking for these reviews. And also your customers can tell because it's not, oh, this space looks great is what I tend to see. And it's not very meaningful. So just spend your time on getting real reviews. So I'm not going to spend any more time on that one because I think that's something you should not have been doing anyway. Okay, no cross-platform manipulation. You cannot use other platforms, social media, email lists, community groups to coordinate review campaigns. So again, this is specific to Google reviews. Cannot post in your Facebook group asking everyone to go leave a Google review. If you have a Slack channel or workspace for your co-working space, you cannot go in there and promote, it's Review Friday, leave us a Google review. No review drive campaigns on your Instagram stories linking to your Google review page, which, I love because I love that if you were doing this, great. And unfortunately, that time is over. No email blast to your full membership asking for Google reviews. Google can detect when a batch of reviews are coming in all at once. What to do instead? Individual automated follow-ups triggered by a specific interaction. Somebody used a meeting room, 30 days after membership. They attended an event. This is a little bit tricky because when somebody, so the CoLevel, which is a CRM I use and a lot of my clients use, there is an automation in there to get Google reviews, and it is set up to ask a member after they've been there for 30 days, which is a great best practice. What you might want to do is go in and edit that automation to send it after hours or on the weekend. Because unfortunately, if they see the email and they're on site, then it could still get flagged. So the automated emails is not foolproof. So that's a tricky one. And the key to the one-on-one requests is tied to genuine experiences like a tour, like an event held, like a day pass has been used, not broadcast campaigns. So the difference with the automations is you cannot send a campaign to your full list asking for a Google review. They want individual automated follow-ups. And this is a way to avoid you've sent the campaign. And so 10% of your list does what you say and they respond and leave a review. So now you have a bunch coming in at one time. If they're triggered on events like a tour, a day pass use, an event meeting room, etc., you're sending, a couple of those a day. So you're not getting batches of reviews at the same time. Change number 7, Google will not let a review stand if it's been written by our friends ChatGPT and Claude. So we want to be careful about that because you might even suggest that members do this, right? Just to make it easy, you might swing by their desk and say, hey, can you write me a review? Or you might send them an email and say, hey, I'm just going to send you this email with a prompt that you can put into ChatGPT, and then you can kind of use your own words and tweak it. So Google's AI can definitely detect AI generated text patterns and will remove those reviews. You cannot stop your members from doing that if you're sending automated emails, but maybe you want to suggest in those automated follow-ups that the reviews need to be in their own words. Otherwise, even if they're well-intended and you ask in a compliant way, you could still get flagged. This is complicated and dramatic. It totally is. So if you're freaking out a little bit, you should be. It is hard. There are a lot of big changes that are not favorable to marketing a physical space, but you can do it. Okay, so just don't suggest that members use ChatGPT. Do not provide pre-written review templates. And again, you might want to ask in your automated review that users use their own words to leave a review. Okay, change number 8, reviews must come from a personal device. So no tablet at the front desk, no staff member saying, here, I've teed up this review for you, hand member the phone. You can, just type your own words here and leave that 5-star checked. Can't do it with the front desk computer. Most of you probably are not doing this already, so hopefully that's not, a big deal. Okay, so what is the timeline for this? Google activated in March of 2026. Google activated new Gemini AI detection systems and began scanning. April 2026, active enforcement began. Non-compliant reviews are being removed. So if you've had reviews removed, this is why. Google removed reviews from over 60,000 businesses and placed posting restrictions on over 782,000 accounts. Okay, so phase 3 expected May and June of this year. You have no time. You got to do this right now. Ranking adjustments will be applied to businesses with significant policy violations. So your search visibility could drop. So if you're a long-standing co-working space and you're kind of sitting on the reviews you've had for years and years, but you start to, your reviews start to go missing, that is going to impact where you show up in the search ranking. So you will show up lower down on the list, which will impact your leads. So you don't want to mess around with this. You want to do this audit right away. This is a 911, whatever you thought you were doing in Q2, that's over. You're doing this now. So if you need to hire somebody to help with this, I would hire somebody to help with this. Like, it's that important. If your team can't get to it, have someone do an audit and just kind of get this going. Or have somebody sit in at the front desk for a couple hours from 3 to 5 for a week and let your team take care of this, or whoever it is that does your marketing. It may not be your front desk team. So what happens if you violate? Individual real reviews will get removed. Repeat violations could result in your account losing review functionality entirely. That's death. That's death for you. So as a business, so you can't let that happen. Your Google business profile could be restricted or suspended. That is also death of a co-working business. Can't have that happen. That is the top of the funnel. That's how most of your leads find you. And then your local pack ranking could be penalized. So also near death. So what do you want to do right now? Check your co-working management software, Office R&D, Nexus, Optics, Archie, CoWorks, Yardi. There's a long list of them. I hope I didn't leave anybody out. For any automated emails or SMS sequences that request reviews. Hopefully they're on this, but frankly, I just heard about this the other day and Stat was like, I need to record a podcast right away. So these guys are probably working on these. Again, if they're built in, I am not aware of any built-in automations except maybe Optics. I think they're trying to create, more of a CRM experience. And so I get asked often, is Office R&D a CRM? It is not. A CRM is to manage leads. Customer relationship management is what it stands for. It's not to manage members. I mean, it is also to manage member communications oftentimes, but it really is to manage leads. So usually the way I think about it is that you're using your CRM. Again, that's an active campaign. It might be CoLevel, it might be HubSpot, it might be Pipedrive. Those are the platforms you're using to send sales emails, to track tours, to manage your pipeline. They can do a lot of things. That might be where your AI chatbot lives, who's answering questions and managing leads for you after hours. So that is where people get into membership. And then once they're members, then their build and agreements and things can get signed in Office R&D and other platforms. Anyway, go in there because you can't guarantee that Office R&D, et cetera, are taking care of it. And take care of it yourself if you see anything. Review any gating logic, like you have an automation set up in ActiveCampaign that asks for feedback. And if it's a thumbs up, then it goes to the Google review. If it's a thumbs down, it goes to an email account. You have to get rid of the gating. Remove any direct links to Google reviews with language that specifically asks for a Google review. You can ask for reviews. You can ask for feedback. You cannot use the word Google. Use neutral language. We'd love to hear about your experience with a link to your Google business profile. Just can't say Google. Make sure your follow-ups are going out after the visit, not while people are still in the building. This is not going to be 100% easy to manage for members who come in every day and bring their, laptops and phones with them. Update your signage and physical touch points. So go through the space and look for signs. You might have... I love the ask for a review inside of the bathroom stall. Take them down and adjust them. So if you have QR codes going straight to your Google review page, you can't do that. You have to just ask for feedback and you can't go straight to the Google review page. Replace with neutral feedback language or just remove entirely. Check your welcome packets, onboarding materials, and any other printed collateral that may, again, ask for a review or have a QR code. Action item number 3, retrain the team. Make sure your community team is your, on-site team or your marketing team or any outsourced marketing team members that you have, contractors. I work with external marketing teams all the time that have no idea about any of this. I'm constantly making sure people understand how critical the Google business profile is. So don't assume that anybody's following this. You have to really own this. It's that critical. Brief your community managers on what they can and cannot say, what they can and cannot ask for based on what we talked about today. Give them the podcast to listen to. We will be producing materials for our community manager university members so that they have a cheat sheet to reference and manage this on their own. Retrain the team that they cannot ask verbally for Google reviews while someone is in the space. They can't ask members to mention them by name, and they cannot offer any incentives for reviews. Focus their energy on delivering a great experience that people cannot resist going to Google and writing about. Action item number 4, take down any incentive programs tied to reviews. So if you're bonusing, doing contests, anything that you have in place that's incenting a team member or users of the space, your members, meeting room users, et cetera, you have to remove that. Action item number 5, build review generation into your systems, not your scripts. So shift from person to person verbal asks to system generated, automated one-to-one follow-ups, no campaigns. Again, set up those automated triggers for the key moments. Somebody came in for a tour. I'm not usually asking for a review after a tour, but you could. After someone's been a member for 30 days, after someone's hosted an event, after a milestone. Keep these automated. Again, what I would do is if someone someone had a bad event, for example, something breaks or who knows, things happen, mysterious things that we cannot predict. Maybe go in and turn off the automation until you can call them and then prioritize managing through those difficult situations that make people want to leave a review. Use your CRM or co-working management platform to handle these automated trigger-based review requests, feedback requests. Diversify your review platforms if that makes sense. Frankly, I'm not sure it does. Again, Yelp might be meaningful in your market. I'm in the Bay Area, and actually Yelp was popular for a very long time. I had a co-working space in the Bay Area, and Yelp was very important here. We used to pay to advertise on Yelp, but that was some time ago. So it is truly usually Google that matters a lot. So you're just going to have to find ways to comply and still focus on your Google business profile. And then action number 7, regroup with the team after you get through kind of all these tactical, logistical things you need to address and revisit the user experience, the member experience people have with meetings, events. How can you sort of foolproof these events? You never can totally, but so that people just have a great experience and then want to go leave a review on their own or respond positively. This is a good move no matter whether Google's watching or not, right? Just really audit the experience that the user has. Have somebody else audit it. I'm doing some business audits for folks right now, and experts and even peers can see things and know things that you don't know. So they'll catch things. I'm thinking like using a meeting room. Maybe you're used to the fact that like it's not that easy to connect to your TV. Anything that's frustrating to a user or weird to a user, like they might be clocking in their head if it's minor, but they're not writing a review because you have not knocked their socks off. So regroup, go through, the workflow, the journey of the user, and just look at all the touch points and think about how you can improve them. Okay, I am not going to run through all of these changes again, but there are 8 pretty big ones. We'll link to the official policy updates in the show notes. You're welcome to read them yourself, interpret them yourself, etc. And again, we will be issuing support playbooks for our community manager university members. So if you're in that program, those will be out shortly. And if you have team members that need to hear this, pass the podcast along. And good luck. Okay. We will see you, hopefully with less dramatic, challenging content, same place, same time next week.